this is Maggie, your physio, and I'm here today to walk you through a quick workout to strengthen up your shoulder girdle. So you might have had some injuries in the past that involved your shoulders, your rotator cuff, and maybe some surgery even. And you got to the stage where now you need to start adding in a little bit of loading. So make sure you got cleared by your healthcare practitioner first to make sure you are at that stage where you can start putting a little bit of loading on your shoulder girdle. I particularly like this little routine because this will get me ready for what I love to do, which is mountain biking. But really for any sort of biking, this is a great workout because it'll prepare you from going from what we call the open chain exercises. So I'm off season right now, so I usually just do a little bit of spin biking, but it's not quite the same loading that you get on your shoulders and on your neck because it's basically stationary. So whereas when I'm outside, there's a lot more working around the whole body, right? And it's not just in the same spot, which also is great to build up the endurance, but you do want to load up different directions around your shoulder blades. And during the day, I'm doing a lot of just open kinetic chain, which is like lifting things up, pushing things, arranging. So I'm really working with lifting in free in the air where my hand is not supported on something. Like on the bike, you ground it, right? So you have your handlebar and you're pretty much grounded. So this is a great workout for that to get you ready for biking season. But definitely it's a great workout for any sort of rehab for the shoulder, for the neck, for the upper back, because it will involve those deep shoulder girdle muscles that we love to strengthen so much. It also avoids those terrible headaches and neck pain that we get from sitting for too long or from having a more forward head posture. In some jobs, I see a lot of forward leaning, right? So this would be a great workout to also help strengthen those muscles. So when you are in those postures for a long time, you don't feel that much discomfort, okay? So let's get you guys started. I'll show some options, some lower options, some higher options as well. So if at any moment you don't feel comfortable with what you're doing, you can always pull back or challenge yourself a little bit more, okay? So let's get down onto all fours first. So the all fours position is the great position that really helps you get that safety from the floor up. And what we want to try to avoid is too much strain in the wrist. So if you already have some issues there, a good option is rolling up a mat or putting a towel underneath your hands. So you already have a little bit of height under your wrist there, so it's not straight down. Also avoid locking your joints, okay? Avoid locking your elbows. And I pretty much have my hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. If you feel comfortable with that position, we can get started. So start pulling your pelvic floor muscles inwards. Take a deep breath in first. As you breathe out, you pull those pelvic floor muscles inwards and start scooping your tailbone. And we're going to go into a rounded back position, which we call angry cat. So one vertebra at a time, you're articulating through the spine. Take another deep breath in here. And then as you exhale, you uncurl, always starting from that tailbone. Okay? And then we're going to try to just gently reverse it. Don't push yourself down. You just allow your back to relax a little bit. As long as it feels comfortable, that's how far you go. And then you pull back to middle. Here we go. And then try one more time. Inhale. As you exhale, pull that stomach muscle in, scoop that tailbone, go one vertebra at a time, articulating into flexion of the spine. Inhale again. As you exhale, unscoop slowly. Okay, and so we're going to do 10 repetitions of that. Or more so like 5, because I already did quite a few in that position before. But if you guys need a little bit longer warm up, feel free to do that. Inhale. And keep pushing the hands into the ground without locking the elbows. And then unscoop. And so this is a great warm up for the whole spine and shoulder girdle, because you are really trying to open up that spine and allow lots of blood supply to go in there and Gives it a little bit of space between the bones to breathe. Inhale. Exhale and curling one at a time. Just one more. And have that sense of elongating the neck when you're here, so you're not just dropping your head. Last one. Scoop it as far up as you can. And reverse it. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to try to lift one arm without moving the rest of the body. So this is important to really think about rooting all the 3 remaining limbs on the ground. Push them into the ground as you lift the opposite arm. We're only going to do 4 of those, and then we're going to test it out with the legs. So what we're trying to see here is if you feel any discomfort on those remaining limbs on the ground, and if you can feel you lengthening through the arm. Some of us might have a little bit more tightness in that lat dorsi area or even the pecs, so you won't be able to lift your arm as high. If I were to look sideways, I can peek underneath my arm, but some of you might only be able to peek over the arm. So if you have a little bit of limitation here, that's okay. That's how you're going to start. Eventually, you're going to bring it a little bit higher. There we go. Now, same goes for the leg. Particularly, I like to do a little bit of a slide first. So I slide my toes back and see if I can really keep that weight bearing even on all my limbs. And then I do a little bit of a lift, but watch the back. So we don't want to see this happening. So we want to keep that length. If you had some suspenders on, you're trying to actually lengthen those suspenders back here. And then slowly back in. And those of you who haven't done anything in this position, you might already start feeling the shoulder blades are starting to work hard, right? So you're trying to keep that power between the shoulder blades. You're not letting this happen. You're not letting your upper back sink. Slowly pull it in. Inhale. You never hold your breath in any of those exercises that we're doing because we're doing prolonged postures too. I don't want you to hold at all your breath. And back in. So I'm not thinking about the height of my hip. I'm really thinking about how much can I keep that length? How much can I challenge those muscles in my core to maintain that position without arching my back? Okay. Good. And 2 more because the legs are bigger limbs. Good. So they add a little bit more leverage than the arms. Good. Feel free, if in between, anytime you need a little break, feel free to sit back and do a little child's pose or even just do a little motion in the wrists. It's up to you. I'm going to keep on going. So our next one is the bird dog pose. So what we're going to do is oblique muscles of our body are going to work together, right? So you're going to go ahead and reach with the arm and reach with the opposite leg. Again, making sure you're keeping this nice and stable without locking. Nice and long neck. Breathe through it and then slowly back in. So you're keeping the stability in the core by engaging slightly those abdominal muscles, and you're trying to avoid excessive movement of the limbs, especially if you have what we call hypermobility. So again, it's not about the height. It's about keeping that integrity in all those muscles along the spine while you're moving your limbs. There we go. And if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more on this one, you can try to reach for the corners. So you're going to open your leg and your arm at a diagonal and then come back to center and down. So it's like you're wiping the tabletop clean. So you reach, wipe. If you had a long tail, you're wiping the tabletop clean and then back down. Clearing the top of the table, pretty much. That's what we're doing. Good. Nice and control is the key for these movements. Commonly, I find people working through their exercise very quickly, so they're not thinking about their breath, they're not thinking about their form, they're just thinking about the movement. So it's very important that we stay focused. We're going to roll onto the back to give those guys in the shoulder blade a little break. Go ahead and move your head from side to side. Feel if there's any tension in that neck. So some of you that have a little bit more of a forward posture, you might feel a little more comfortable with a pillow here, especially if you notice that your middle back pops up from the ground. So you want to be able to keep your back pretty comfortable here. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of bridging. So I want you to feel that you're pulling your shoulder blades slightly together, but not really again to the point where you're lifting your mid back. You want to feel you getting a little bit of energy through the arms to push into the ground. And then you inhale. As you exhale, scoop the tailbone, deeper abdominals acting, start to pelvic tilt. So you're rotating your pelvis backwards as if you're zipping up really tight jeans. And you're going to come up just as far as to feel you're engaging the muscles in the back part of your body. You're still keeping that nice scoop. And you're also adding a little bit of pressure through your arms into the ground. Try to maintain your eye gaze up on the ceiling and then slowly uncurl one vertebra at a time. The slowliness of this movement going down is really what helps you to strengthen that posterior chain because you are resisting gravity. And slowly release. Inhale again. Exhale. Get that really deep scoop. Start coming up. Eye up on the ceiling. Maybe lengthen the back of your neck a little bit more if you feel you're starting to get a little bit of tension in the back muscles of the neck. Push through those arms. Make sure your feet are also rooting and are evenly pushing into the ground. And then slowly rolling back. Now, some of you might notice that your knees tend to flare open as you're going up. So if I show you this view, so I notice this a lot. So I'm trying to maintain the same line, pretty much shoulder width. And as I'm coming up, I notice a lot of people doing this. So if you find yourself doing that, maybe keep a pillow or a rolled towel between your knees, or really focus on maintaining that energy, like you have magnets in your inner thighs. And slowly down. Keep on going. So you can keep doing the same exercise, or you can always make it smaller just with the pelvic tilt. Or if you want to advance a little bit more, we're going to come back up again. And this time, I'm going to inhale to lift my right leg. Exhale to lower while keeping this nice and strong posterior pelvic tilt. Back up to inhale. Exhale back down. So I'm trying to keep my pelvis really level. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And each at a time. If this is a challenge for you, feel free to keep the legs down, or instead of keeping the legs straight, you can also keep it just bent to 90 degrees, right? So you lower without touching, back up and down. Keep tucking that tail under, that's important. So you don't want to feel any pinch in your back on this one. And I'm really rooting again through my shoulder blades to keep a little bit of that extension in my upper back, but without squeezing my lower back, okay? Perfect. Let's roll on back onto our front. So here we go with the lower option of the plank. So if you felt any discomfort already in your shoulder when we did the first part on all fours, feel free to keep doing on all fours or even pull back. Okay, so you can do some stretches like the child's pose. So you just go back here for a little while, and we're gonna walk through these exercises right now. They're a little bit more advanced. So what I want you to think of is Shoulders are always going to be on top of your elbows, okay? We might do a little bit of movement back and forth, but we always reset back to this position, okay? You're going to use your fists or your hands. They can be this way, that way, it doesn't really matter. This is usually more anatomical. You can pull your belly button in and start by doing that and getting a little bit of work done in those abdominal muscles. But really our focus was the shoulder blade, right? So I want you to imagine that you're opening your shoulder blades up, you're separating, you're opening the windows, okay? Your collarbones are really smiling, they're exposed, they're not being crunched. So if I let this cave in, it's gonna feel like everything gets tight, right? So I'm gonna try to open it all up. And if you're already feeling discomfort here, you come back down, okay? We can also just start with the weight bearing right here. The goal is, again, to get that strength in the shoulder blades, right? Make sure you don't feel any discomfort in your lower back. You can pull those belly button muscles in and then relax. So a little bit of caving in and then testing again how you're feeling with just loading a little bit your shoulders, but without the actual weight bearing of the whole body. So again, I'm tucking my toes under here and I'm bringing my legs a little closer together for the challenge. And feel free to stay on your knee for the plank. I'm gonna go a little bit higher. Now, the other option to make this a little bit harder would be going up on your hands. Again, feel free to stay down on your elbows. And if this causes a little bit of strain in the wrists, remember the option that we had before where we rolled up the mat. And you know, guys, I'm talking here, but I'm holding the position. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build up the endurance in those muscles. So as you're pushing here, we're breathing in and out, and you can tell because I'm talking to you. And now we're going to shift our weight forward and back while keeping those shoulder blades apart. Don't let them cave in. Keep the collarbones really smiling. Energize your legs a little bit more. Push those heels away. Feel the long length that you have from the crown of the head all the way down to your heels. Good. If you need a break, come down. Otherwise, you're going to go side to side. Now, that side to side needs to be, you need to work that body as a log. So there's no shifting of the hip, okay? We're going to work the whole body shifts to one side and then the other. And again, let me know how that feels on the shoulders. Nice and long through the neck. The neck is starting to get a little tired. It comes down. This is what we're working on this. Stability when we're having our hands on that handlebar. Keep that head nice and long. Good. Anybody starting to sweat a little bit? Good. Let's get it down. Whew, a little breather. Feel free to get back into your child's pose. As you're down here, scoop that belly in. Pull the pelvic floor muscles in to get that little bit more of a pull on your tailbone. Get that lower back to open. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now push a little bit your hands into the mat so that you're rounding your lower back a little bit more. Good. And we're going to go onto our sides. So pick a side. I'm starting on my right. Same rule as before. We want to try to keep that shoulder right over the elbow. The easier option is starting with the legs bent. Knees are in front of my body. So I am like this. I don't have them back here. Okay, this would be a harder version. This gives a little bit more ease for your back to work on this. So that would be the first option. Other hand can stay down for a little bit of balance. Come up in a straight line without rotating the body back or forth, okay? You can engage again those deep muscles in the abdomen. And then as you breathe out, you're gonna lift up. Again, people that have a lot of hypermobility, they're all over the place here. As you can tell, I have a little bit of that problem. So I have to really work on maintaining alignment because my body thinks about how far can I go instead of can I feel the stability? Can I feel those muscles working hard? And then feel free to have that extra arm up there, okay? And then slowly back down. Controlling the way down again is when you really work the elongation of the muscles at the same time that there's tension, so it really works well. Option 2, you can stay where you were. Option 2, legs are straight. Inhale. As you exhale, come on up. Again, option here. And then slowly back down. Good. You can stay where you were, option 1, 2, or option 3, which will add a little bit more. Again, whenever we're further away from the floor, it gets more unstable, okay? Inhale. As you exhale, think of lengthening the body as you're lifting, okay? So you want to lengthen, create that inner thigh magnet. Lift. You can also stagger one foot in front of the other. And then slowly back down. Keep that shoulder blade away from your ear. Or the shoulder away from the ear. Good. All right. You want a little bit more of a challenge. Again, you can do it on the elbow or with the arms straight. We're going to add some leg movement to this. So you lift again. And then lift the top leg straight, 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 straight. And then slowly back down and release. It's all about the control. Control gives us more stability, gives us more endurance in those muscles. Want to try it with the arms straight? We're decreasing the base of support. It gets harder. Inhale and exhale. Lengthen the body. Add that lift. Hold, 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 hold. Avoid twisting the body. And then slowly lower down. All right, we're going to do that same sequence on the other side. Flipping over. Knees bent. So I'm layering the options. You can stay at the option that works for you. That if it's too much of a challenge, you stay in the lower options. If you want more, you keep following me or go right into the harder options. Inhale. As you exhale, pull those pelvic floor muscles, pull the deeper abdominal muscles, lengthen the body. Feel free to do this or keep this here. And usually I suggest 1 or 2 breaths in that position and then come back down. Okay. Other option, legs straight. Inhale, set it up. Keep that open. It's all about the breath. Good. Energize those inner thighs. Breathe through the rib cage. Open it up here. Every time you take a breath there. Zip it up here. Good. Option with the leg. You're still feeling like you're pulling the leg away as you're lifting it sideways, because otherwise we kick in those hip flexors and we really want to use the side muscles here. Right? Highest option. You're starting to feel a little bit of burn in the shoulder and shoulder blade area. That's what we want. And really my workout is just really a little example of what you can do. So once you get the hang of those movements, you can do them with more repetitions, more sets, and even just staying at the option that works for your body. Okay, we're going back onto our front. So back into, if you felt comfortable doing the full plank, here's where we're going to stay, nice and long. And we're going to do movement with the leg. So this is a Pilates exercise, which most of the ones that I've been doing are preparatory exercises for Pilates, for the classical Pilates. You're going to lengthen the leg even more, feel like you're pulling the leg away from your head, and then lift it. And again, we're thinking about that arch in the back. We don't want to arch the back like so as you're lifting the leg. You want to keep that nice length. tucking the tail under, and then lifting the other leg. So the Pilates version goes, you're really working on the breath. So I'm inhaling here, exhaling, 2 pulses. Inhale, exhale. And back down to child's pose. This is always a good intermission here. Anytime you need that. And especially if you're starting to feel your neck, obviously, if you haven't done this workout before, the neck will start getting a little tight because after all, you're using all those muscles around the neck, which is our goal to get it stronger. But in the meantime, as it's not strong yet, it'll get a little tight. So do a few rotations of your neck while you're here, feeling that elongation in the spine. All right. Back to the version of the full plank, option to stay low or to stay on all fours even, okay? We are gonna do a little bit of walk up and down with the hands. And you can also have the option of just walking here. Our goal is trying to avoid collapsing the shoulder blades, okay? So, just gonna turn the mat a little bit so you can see it a little better here. All right, so keeping that nice strong plank, we're gonna slowly come down onto one elbow and then the other elbow. And then back up and up. So down on the right, left, up on the right, left, down on the left, right, up on the left, right, right, left. How are we doing there? This is no easy task. Remember the bike riding? That's our goal, to get that perfect head and body movement, smooth around the curves and the berms. That dissociation of the head and body. We need to get that stability in the shoulder blades. One more. Up, up, down, down. Now try to slowly pull your belly muscles in to lift your hips higher and walk your feet slowly closer together. Keep pulling your hips away from your shoulders. So I'm not allowing my head to drop. I'm pulling it away. I'm pulling the whole spine away. This gives us a good little stretch in the hamstrings. Try to drop the heels. Keep pulling the belly button in. Lengthen and breathe. Back down. Great. All right, and then we're gonna go back onto our backs. Now this one, we're gonna try to keep the arms straight. Option to keep them bent, okay? So this is the reverse plank pretty much. We're gonna try to get up. We're combining the first bridge movement that we did with combining the planks that we're doing, but in reverse. So I'm going to show you this option here. Pull those shoulder blades back and down. So you're keeping the length in the back of your neck. And your legs can stay bent or straight. So I'm going to show first the bent option. And you're going to curl from the tailbone again. Pull those belly button muscles in and start lifting it up. So you want to create good space here between your arms and your legs. That's the hardest part, is finding exactly where they need to be. Make sure you keep squeezing the shoulder blades or the elbows gently together and your inner thighs. Breathe and then slowly uncurl back down. Slowly, control it, control it, control it. Resist the urge to just drop. All right, I'll show you the option with the legs long. I usually like to have something under the ankles. I could just roll another mat because it gives me a little support since I had so many ankle injuries. So my feet are actually on the ground. So keep doing your plank, your reverse plank. And I externally rotate my thighs so that my toes are pointing outwards. And again, we're going to try to keep the legs straight. Curl from the tailbone. Start looking down and then start looking down the leg and up on the wall and then up in the ceiling. So you're curling sequentially to get to that position. Breathe, squeeze those shoulder blades in, pull the belly button in, really squeeze the bum muscles, and slowly back down. So the head pretty much follows the movement of the spine. Remember, we're trying to get that stability between the neck and the shoulder blade. So I don't want to keep the neck down here as I'm coming up. You keep the length. You look down first. As you're coming up, one vertebra at a time. Push the outer edge of your feet into the ground and look up finally. Some of you might be able to do a little bit more of an extension and relax the neck. I like to actually keep working on my deep neck muscles. So working against gravity and then slowly back down. You shouldn't feel any discomfort in your back. If you're feeling discomfort there, you're going a little bit too high and you're not able to keep that opening in the back, the spine, the spinal bones, they have to stay apart, okay? You want a little bit more of a challenge. We're going to try to lift one leg at a time. So again, that's a Pilates movement. And here we go. Coming up, nice and slow. Lengthen, root the left foot on the ground. Lift slowly to right. Lower slowly to right. Keep breathing. And then slowly uncurl one vertebra at a time. And you can also do that sequentially non-stop, switching from one leg to the other. So coming up again, looking up. Inhale, exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lower all the way down. Good. Come on back up. Now try, without coming down, switching from one leg to the other. Root the left, lift the right. Root the right, lift the left. Good. And then back slowly down. How about another one? Come back up. Pelvis is stable. One more each side. And slowly back down. Slowly, slowly does it. Great. Big shoulder roll. Whew, hopefully that helped you to really feel those muscles that we're intending on strengthening and building up endurance. So to finalize, let's just stretch that arm across. Nice and deep breath, nice elongation through the spine. You guys did awesome. Hopefully that will help. Recovery of shoulder injuries, preparation for bike season, or if you're already doing bike season right now, it's just an adjunct routine to help you get even stronger and less issues in the neck, less headaches at the end of your ride, less headaches at the end of your work day. Okay, you guys, if you have any question, feel free to ask. Enjoy. Bye.